I think this is one of the best memes out there. What's your favorite childhood memory? Me, not paying bills. I also think this one is pretty funny, just to give you another laugh. Me, I want to travel. Bank account, like to the backyard? I think we can all relate to those memes in some regard because we are all adults and we all have bills to be paid. So why not pay those bills as efficiently as possible and as painlessly as possible? And in the smallest amount of time as well. Not only is it better for our mental health to pay our bills on time, but it's also important for our credit score. That's why I'm sharing my simple system on how I get my bills paid. I am Tiffany Thomas with thewealthytiffany.com, and I achieved financial freedom at age 38. If you are looking to achieve financial freedom at a young age as well, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, and we're going to dive right in. Let's talk about my 4 steps to making sure that my bills are paid on time every month, so that we don't have any overdraft fees, late payments, or interest charges. Step 1, and you can probably guess this, is to set all of the bills that we can on auto payments. By setting up auto payments for our bills, we not only save time, but we can save money because we aren't going to be charged those late fees or overdraft fees. And in order to set up all of your bills on auto pay, you have to know what your bills are. So make sure you know all of your bills, including all of those subscriptions that you might have on auto payment already, because we don't want to keep paying any bills for services that we aren't actually using. And I understand that not all things can be auto payments, but the majority can. I actually have one HOA that requires I write something in the memo every month, and so I have to log into my checking account, and I do send them a check just through my checking account, so that is an option if you need to send someone a check. But once I do that, I can type in what I want to on that memo line, and then I can send the check to my HOA. So I'm not actually writing a physical check. And I also have my utilities for my place, the water and sewer. They don't keep the credit card number or even a debit card number on file, so I have to log into that account each month and pay that one manually too. And speaking about checks, I do have one tenant that sends me a check each month, and she just has that automatically paid through her checking account every month. So she's not physically writing me a check. So it can be done. But for the majority, you should be able to set up auto payments, including your credit card. And with your credit card, there should be an option in there to pay the minimum payment, which we don't want to do. We want to pay that off in full each month. So there should be another option for the statement balance, and that's what we want to schedule our auto payment for, is the full balance so that we are not getting charged any interest on our credit card. And if you're not able to pay that amount in full each month, that statement balance amount, then add extra payments each month to pay that off as quickly as possible. And if you do want some help in the best way to pay off your debt, I did create a video, so I will leave a link above and below in the description, and you can check that out later on. But when possible, we want to pay off that statement balance in full each month, and you should be able to schedule an auto payment for that amount. And if you're not able to schedule an auto payment directly on the website when you log into your account, then you can do it through your checking account. I use a credit union, but most banks should allow this feature, and it's called bill pay. So you can take the information from your, say, credit card company, and you can schedule a payment to go out to them directly from your checking account. And if your checking account is similar to mine, there's already options inside of your checking account for bill pay, for utilities that you might use, or other things. So it'll be really easy to set up a bill pay and auto payment through your checking account if they already have that information in there. And if not, then you can just enter it manually. And then you can send the payment electronically or by check, like I mentioned before. And going along with setting up auto payments for your bills, if they allow you to use a credit card for your payment, I would recommend doing that as long as you are paying off your credit card balance in full each month. If you are not, then just use your checking account. But if you can use a credit card, then I would recommend doing that because you can get the reward points on your credit card, which every little bit adds up over time. All right, and then step 2 When you've set up everything you can and then you have some leftover bills that need to be paid, I want you to schedule a certain day every month to pay those bills. You can put a reminder in your phone for whatever day you choose. I personally do it on the 25th of every month, and there is a reminder set in my phone, so every 25th I get a reminder to pay my bills, which I don't actually need that reminder. I could probably turn that off, but I just haven't yet. But that's what I want you to do, schedule a certain day to get all of your bills paid. And if you're thinking, well, my bills are all due on different days, so this may not work for me, you can actually contact most creditors and have your due date changed. I know I can do that for my Comcast bill, my internet bill, and my credit card bills, and a lot of other things. So contact whichever provider you are wanting to switch that due date on and see if you can change it so that you can have all of your bills due on the same day. Or if that doesn't work for you, maybe you get paid every 2 weeks, then you could have half of them due in the middle of the month and then the other half at the end of the month. So whatever works for you, but just know that there is some flexibility there. You could possibly change your due dates. And then if you need to, you can schedule 2 days every month to pay your bills instead of just 1 day. Do what works for you. So clearly you need to know your due dates for each bill and switch them if you want to, if that's going to work out better for you. And on the 25th of every month, what I do is I log into my email because most of my statements are e-statements. I don't get them in the mail anymore. And I log into my email so I can see all of my bills that are due. And I think, okay, yeah, I know this one is autopay, this one's autopay. And then I just start deleting them. And then if it's not autopay, I make sure and make the payment. And then I can delete that email or move it to another folder if you like to save your e-statements. But that way it's very efficient because you're not opening every email as soon as you get it and thinking, oh, what was that due date again? You already know your due date, so you don't even have to open those emails until you're ready to pay your bills. And even then, if it's something like a mortgage payment, you know that amount is going to be the same every month. You may not even need to open the bill. And then you can just delete it or move it to a folder that you may have set up in your email for that certain bill. And then step number 3 is to make sure you actually know the amount in your checking account so that you make sure you aren't getting an overdraft fee on your checking account if you don't have enough money in there to pay your bills. So this definitely goes along with step 2. And the way that I do this is I use an electronic checkbook register. I used to use the paper ones. It was probably just me and all of the grandmas getting those from the bank all the time. But I've stopped doing that now and I have moved on to an electronic version of this. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to the one that I actually found online. And I actually use it as a Google Sheet instead of an Excel file because this way I can put the Google Sheets app on my phone and I can actually open up the app and enter in a transaction that I am currently making. So if I just got a Venmo payment from a renter, then I can transfer that money to my checking account and then I can just open up my Google Sheet, my checkbook register, and type in such and such tenant paid me this amount on this day. So it's all up to date. And let me show you an example of what the checkbook register looks like. So you can just enter in the date and then you can say if it's a check number or if you have a specific code you want to put with it. And then you can put the person you are paying or the person that has paid you. And then if you want to do a category, then you can add a category to it as well. So if it is a utility bill or if it's rental income, then you can put that in there and keep track if you want to. I personally don't use it for that, but you can. And then this next column I like to use when I actually balance my checkbook register. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then you can enter in if it is a withdrawal, a payment to someone, or if it's a deposit, if it's a credit, so money coming in. And then it keeps a running total on the very right side. So you don't have to do any math with this checkbook register, which is nice because with those paper ones, you had to do math in your head or use your calculator. And sometimes there were mistakes that were made. So this way it's a lot easier because there's already a formula in there to calculate the remaining amount. I actually use this checkbook register throughout the entire month, but when I am sitting down to pay my bills on the 25th of every month, I open up my checkbook register. I copy and paste most, if not all, of my bills from the month before to the bottom of the Google Sheet, and then I just update the date. So if I had bills that were due on April 1st, there were 10 different bills, then I can just copy those 10 bills and paste them below and then just change the date to May 1st from April 1st. And that way it's quicker. I don't have to type in each individual bill and the amount because a lot of them are fixed expenses like my mortgage payment or my cell phone, things like that. And then those expenses that are variable that change from month to month, then I just change the amount on there. I personally really like using a checkbook register because that way I know how much I really have in my account, because some bills don't come out until maybe the 10th of the month or the 5th of the month. So if I just happen to open my checking account and see that there's $6,000 in there, and I think, oh great, I can go on a shopping spree, I have plenty of money, but there's 4 different bills that haven't been paid yet, that haven't come out yet, I don't actually have $6,000 sitting in my checking account because those are pending payments that will be coming out very soon, so I don't want to be spending that money. If you have had problems withdrawing too much money in the past out of your checking account and getting an overdraft fee, then this could be a really great way for you to manage your checking account because it's very simple. Like I said, you can download Google Sheets onto your phone, and that way when you are making a purchase out of your checking account or you're getting income that's coming into your checking account, you can just quickly grab your phone, because you probably always have it on you, and open the Google Sheets and just type in, okay, yeah, the date, and I received this amount from so-and-so. Or, oh, I made this purchase out of my checking account on this date for this amount. And you can just put it right in there. And then you can see your running total in your checking account at all times. And then step number 4, the last step to paying your bills very efficiently, is to make sure that all of your bills were actually paid, that all of your auto payments did go through, and then actually balance your checking account. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. I personally like to use a free app called Personal Capital, and it hooks all of your financial accounts into Personal Capital so you can see your whole financial picture in one place very quickly. And I check this frequently. So I don't usually sit down on maybe the 5th of the month when I used to and make sure that all of my bills were paid. I actually open Personal Capital whenever I want to, actually quite frequently, and I can see, oh yeah, that bill went through, that's no problem. So that makes it very easy to make sure that bills are being paid, because sometimes there is a problem, not very frequently, but occasionally it does happen. So if you're a person that is worried about using auto payment, then you can use this free app and keep an eye on your money at all times very quickly. So if you are interested in using Personal Capital, I will leave my referral link below in the description, and you can get a free $20 Amazon gift card when you hook one of your retirement accounts to a Personal Capital. The other way to do this is to open up your checking account and just make sure that all of your bills went through. And then you can also pull your statement from your checking account, and then you can compare that to your checkbook register and balance your checkbook. When you're balancing your checkbook, this is the column that I mentioned before in that checkbook register that I like to use when I balance my checkbook. So what I do is I compare everything that's showing on my statement from my checking account, and I make sure that I entered it into my checkbook register. And I just put a little 1 in that column to verify. You could even do a check mark, but just to verify that that payment or the income actually went through your checking account. And then any payments that hadn't gone through yet, you would add back in that amount. And then any income that isn't showing on your statement yet, you would minus or subtract out that amount, and then it should balance with the amount that is showing on your statement from your checking account. And that way you know for sure the exact amount you'll have in your checking account once all of your payments do go through or all of the income does come through your checking account. And the last thing that I like to do is at the bottom, I know how much money I want to leave in my checking account. So I leave a little bit of money for a buffer in case rental income hasn't come in yet and a bill is coming out like a mortgage payment or something large. I have enough in there to cover some of those expenses. And I leave that certain amount in my checking account at all times. And then the rest of it I transfer to my online savings account. That way I'm not leaving money sitting in my checking, not earning hardly any interest, but I move it to my online savings account, which has a higher interest rate. So I'm making more money on my money that's sitting in my savings account. And that way my complete emergency fund is sitting in my online savings account along with any extra money for anything else that I might be saving for. Now that we've covered all of my steps for paying your bills efficiently, I have a few bonus tips for you. The first tip that I have for you is if you do happen to miss a payment one month and you get charged a fee for that or maybe interest, then call that creditor and see if they will waive that fee or the interest that has been charged. I've done this in the past before, and when I call to ask them to waive a fee that has been charged on my account because of something I did wrong, they actually waive it because they look at my history and they can see, oh, she has been paying on time every month. This isn't something she's going to be asking for every month. So I've gotten every single fee that I've done that with waived. And then if it is interest that you're being charged, this may be a little bit harder to get rid of, but still do the same thing. And if the first person tells you no, then ask to speak to someone else. And then ask to speak to a supervisor or even another supervisor. I had to go through 4 people when I mistakenly forgot to make a credit card payment because I didn't have it set on auto pay. So I had to talk to 4 different people, but once again, the 4th person took a look at my account and she said, oh, you pay on time every month. Okay, I'll waive the interest for you this one time. So it does work. It takes only just a few minutes to save how many ever dollars the fee is or the interest that you've been charged. And then tip number 2, to increase your credit score, which I mentioned earlier in the video, you want to pay off your credit card balance in full every month, or your credit card statement balance. It doesn't have to be your full credit card amount. Whenever your statement date is, whenever it closes, you want to pay that balance that's on there prior to the statement closing date, and that will help increase your credit score. And if you want more tips about how to increase your credit score, I have a video for you, which I will leave a link to above and below in the description. And then tip number 3, I also use a spreadsheet along with Personal Capital. And that way I can just have more control over exactly what I want to see, what I want to track. So I have a monthly tab for all of my expenses, and then I have a yearly overview tab. So I can see exactly what I've spent on each rental, how much rental income I've had from each rental, different expenses, and then I can track my own net worth in there because it's a little more accurate than Personal Capital. Sometimes things don't update every month or whatever it might be, but I just like having a spreadsheet as well as using Personal Capital. And then bonus tip number 4 is like setting up auto payments, you can set up auto transfers. So if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, then you could have an auto transfer to your savings account for a certain amount. And that way you're not thinking, oh, I need to transfer money to my savings account. And it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. But you can build up your emergency fund or your trip fund or whatever it is you want to save for very easily because it's just being automatically transferred to your savings account. You can also do that with your investing. You can do auto transfers to your investing account. Maybe you have a Roth IRA set up, but you can have money just automatically transferred to your investment account, and that way you don't have to remember to invest every month. Comment below if you have other ideas on how to make paying bills easier, or just share your favorite money tip. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.